So I bought into this poker game on Friday night for $3,500. It's 5-10 half no limit, half pot limit Omaha at Red Rock Casino, and I wanted to share some hands that I played. But I know what you're thinking. Who the fuck am I? I'll let Andrew explain that.
All right, guys, so here's the deal. This is my friend James, and I decided to stake him for this game. Now, I don't normally stake people, but I figured why not? Let's give him a shot. Now, second of all, he has a little bit of a potty mouth.
Potty mouth? How old are you, 7?
And lastly, he may or may not be real, as in he may be AI.
You know I can hear you, right?
All right, now before I turn James loose on the channel, one last thing. Meetup game this week, Wednesday. Playground in Montreal. Myself, Brad, Ethan will all be there playing poker on Wednesday. If you are Canadian, you'll need a WPT Global account, so use code VLOG, sign up for an account, and that'll make things much smoother before you get there. If you're American, don't worry about it, you're all good. Hope to see you guys.
All right, quit your yapping. 286 vlogs, and I think they've heard enough from you.
Fair point.
So the game is short, playing four-handed and with a straddle. Action folds to me, and we've got 7-5 of hearts. I love a suited gapper as much as the next degenerate, so let's make it $80 to go. Only the straddler calls, and we go heads up to a flop. 9-8-5 rainbow. Cool. Could bet or check, and I decide the latter. He bets 120. We're going absolutely nowhere, bucko. Turn deuce second diamond. I check. Now he fires 200. Don't love it as much, but did I drive all the way from Australia to Summerlin to fold a pair plus a straight draw? The answer is no. River comes a queen, which is a pretty stupid card if you ask me. I check once more, and this time he checks back. A bit of hope that we might be good here, but it's not to be. Versus the 9-8, which is fine because it's Andrew's money, not mine. The stakes are going up already as we've now got a $40 straddle on. That's 5-10-40. You boys came to party? I like to party. I look down at the 10-9 of spades in the small blind and make it 125 to go. Same guy from last hand calls on the button again. Queen 7-4 giving us a bunch of backdoor shit. Let's bet one black chip. He makes the call, and we see the queen of diamonds on the turn, which makes me wonder why I took up poker. I check, and he checks. River off suit 3. Action goes check, check, and I say you're good. He says no. I show my 10 high, and it somehow wins this pot. Fuck, I'm a genius. Game switches every dealer change, and it's time for some pot limit Omaha. For those keeping score at home, this is the fun one of the two games. The nerds might want to skip ahead. Action folds to me on the button, looking down at ace 6-4-3 double suited. Pretty. Let's make it 75 to go, which the small blind agrees to, and the two of us see a flop, queen 7-3 rainbow. He checks, and I've got some stuff, so let's bet one black chip again. This time my man is having none of it and raises to 480, with a direct out to the nuts plus some backdoor potential. I'm too stubborn of a man to muck it. The turn is interesting. Another 3-second heart. Now he fires for 800, leaving about that much behind. Would he bet that much with a boat? Maybe, maybe not. Seems sketchy, but way too good to fold, and it wouldn't be the first straight flush I've made in my life. River comes a jack, and now he checks. Would he check with a boat? Signs point to no, my friends. I think we've got the virtual nuts versus his line. I'm wagering the rest and hoping we don't get snapped off. Good news, he tanks. Even better news, he eventually makes the call and quickly shows queen 7. No good, my friend. Unfortunately, you ran into a man on a mission to suck out. Ship it. Back to the two-card game, and we've got ace-queen. Now you'll have to forgive me as my filming and vlogging skills this hand seem to have gone walkabout. But you'll take what you can get, and you'll like it.
Hey, listen, James, you want to talk trash to me, that's fine, but you are going to show some respect to the audience.
Sorry. Anyway, I make it 50 on the button over the $20 straddle, and the straddler makes it 200 to go. I'd be a few stubbies short of a six-pack to let this go. Heads up, and we see a favorable one. Favorable? That doesn't sound like something I would say. Ace-queen 9-2 clubs, which he checks, and we won't be doing that. Instead, I bet $200. Call that if you hate U.S. greenbacks. Our man does in fact make the call. Turn 7. He checks and let's bet some more money, 500 this time. Once again, he makes the call, and this all seems quite good. River is the 6 of clubs, which I'm not worried about considering no c-bet, but it could kill our action. We gotta try anyway, don't we? You bet your sweet, sweet ass we in fact do. He checks, and I fire out 800. He thinks for a bit and chucks in the call. Top 2 is gonna win. Boo, 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 raking news, my friends. We've found some run good. Let's carry on because I'm a true motherfucking grinder. I make it 80 to go with the 8-7 of clubs out of the small blind, and the straddler calls. How's this for a flop? 8, 8, 7. There is a flush draw on board, but I would check this kind of flop a lot, and considering it's more smashed than Andrew at a meet-up game after party, I go ahead and check. He doesn't disappoint and bets 125. I call, and the turn is an offsuit 6. Check it, and more good news. This time in the form of a $300 wager. Delicious. I call again, unblocking all the bluffs, and we see a total brick on the river. Offsuit deuce. I check looking to spring the trap, but this time he wisely checks it back before showing a 7. Not bluffing, but not all that strong either, so no major value lost, I don't think. Now let me ask you this. If I say armor and artillery, does that mean anything to you? Let me try it in another language. It's the ace and the ace. I make it 50 to go on the button before action folds to the straddler, who decides that's not enough. Music to my Aussie ears. He makes it 210 to go, and I think you know what's coming. It's a 4-handed game, and I don't think we'll get pegged for having it all the time in this kind of a spot. Let's 4-bet. I make it 480 to go, and my opponent thinks for a little while before making the call. Flop comes down, mediocre. Jack 3, deuce, all spades, and we don't have any of those. My opponent checks, and I'm betting damn near full range in 4 bet pots as the aggressor, typically around a quarter pot. 260 it is, and my opponent makes the call. Turn is an offsuit 5, which looks pretty safe, since we double block ace 4. He checks, and I think we should bet again, this time for 575. My opponent thinks for a little while before once again making the call. Don't do it to me, dealer. He did it to me. 10 of spades. My God. If he fires out now, it'll be miserable. But fire out he does not. Checks it to us, and we have a very easy check back. And seeing as I'm a friendly man, I go ahead and show my aces, which as it turns out, are still the best hand. Obviously not the run-out we had in mind, but winning a 4-bet pot plus a couple c-bets under the circumstances seems wonderful. It's that time of night when we're down to the last 2 poker contestants playing 10-20 heads up. I make it 50 on the button with ace-9 off, and he calls. 9-5-4 with 2 clubs which he checks, and top 2 pair feels like the most obvious bet in the world. So I fire for 75. To my surprise, we get check raised up to $300. Obviously we're going nowhere, but it's definitely going to get interesting. The turn is another 4, which seems fantastic. Less likely he's got pocket 4s or 5-4, and weighted more towards draws. That's what my wizard brain tells me anyway. He doesn't stop blasting though, this time firing out for $800. Told you. Interesting. We've got nowhere to go with a holding this good, so after feigning a bit of thought, we chuck the purple and 3 black chips in and head to a river. It's an offsuit jack, not a complete brick, since we no longer have top pair, but the draws do miss. It's not exactly comfortable though, when my opponent fires out one last shell for $1,200. Goodness gracious. You know, $1,200 can get me a plane ticket back to Sydney. And the $800 on the turn can get me a shitload of Victoria Bitter. But when all the draws miss, and we unblock every single one of them, and there really aren't enough reasons to fold, I think it's time to chuck a yellow chip in and hope he's bluffing. Nice. He's bluffing. Victory beers it is. That, my friends, is a good session of chipsies cardsies. Into the game for an odd 4,750. Don't ask why that amount. And cash out for 11,190 United States dollarinos. Enjoy the winnings, Andrew, and you're welcome. Oh, and thanks for letting me fly the drone.